going in raw is never really recommended. It's just easier. Just hope you can deal with the mess. As such, I don't edit or plan these podcasts, I just do them. I literally decided this second that this is actually a podcast and the thing I'm going to do. So, if you're actually watching this as a video, it's probably going to take away from the experience of this. If you're watching on a podcast, you're lucky because you can't see me doing the live edits. Let's just start with this random music here. Let's bring that down a bit. Yep, let's bring that down a bit. So on today's podcasty kind of thing, no, it's still too loud. On today's podcasty kind of thing, I've decided that I'm just gonna talk about more cyberpunk stuff. Now, I do miss Android Netrunner. I miss it a lot. And it's got the theme I like. It's got mechanics that you can't see anywhere else. It's the perfect marriage of form and function for the stuff I like. And to that end, I used to watch the Blade Runner films a lot. Well, the Blade Runner film over and over. The 2049 I didn't like as much. It's not it was a bad film, it was just that some parts of it were dragged out for way too long for the sake of art. And it kind of ruined the experience for me. I love the baseline test. I love it. Favorite thing. Okay. So I decided to talk about this office lady anyway. When I've been finding myself making more office-based characters when doing a RPG, specifically Shadow of the Beanstalk. Shadow of the Beanstalk. I love it. I love it because I don't play Dungeons and Dragons because I hate elves. I'm racist against elves. I just want to slap them. This is because of Magic the Gathering. Elves just spam the field and it's just like, ugh, get these plebs away from me. Whereas when dealing with a cyberpunk situation, especially office work, I remember being in an office. It was just as disruptive as this music is to this conversation. You're wondering why I don't just turn it off. Well, I'm not going to. This is elves. I don't think it's disruptive to the conversation at all. You can disagree with me on that. I remember when I got to work for a year as during my master's degree. Happiest year of my life. You know, form, function, I was learning stuff, I was doing stuff. It was great. There was reports to write and work to do. I find that when other people tend to make their characters, they're insanely beautiful and really strong or intelligent. My characters tend to be just filled with hot air and absolute failures. The thing I like about this office lady from the 2049 is that she just really seems to like the replicant that she works for. Let me see what this music is. Yeah, she just seems to be like in love with that replicant. And I'm just kind of wondering why she doesn't just abuse her position and just sleep with him. Well, of course, that's like my perspective as a guy, I guess. I'm not saying that women can't have those feelings or whatnot, or whatnot. I'm just saying I would expect more. I would expect more dominance. Like, she doesn't send him home after he completely fails the baseline test. What she does is she tries to protect him for a little while, and I guess that's her display, her showing that she cares about him. I'm just surprised there isn't more of that. Yeah, and I get to this point where in an office environment, I feel bad that I sometimes seem to disrupt others with my mere presence. I, I, I like the disruption, mostly because I feel like I'm constantly being disrupted. Failure to understand others, communication, lack of context, mostly. Again, if you're watching this on the YouTubes, then you're seeing images. Well, an image. You're not really missing anything. It's just from a Cyberpunk game. Just like these business ladies. Right, to wrap up this thing, and to maybe give this some context. Elizabeth Mills is a clone. No one wants to admit it, but Elizabeth Mills is most definitely a clone. She is just Jinteki's way of having a board member on Wayland's board. That's what it is. It just makes too much sense. I mean, have you seen her card in the Genesis RPG? She has no fear. And I'm not saying that, like, again, no one can have no fear. And it probably does disrupt game balance, but I'm just surprised that it's like her fear is an unknowable secret, that she's a clone. I'm just going to close off by saying moist, because apparently I didn't realize this was a thing, but moist is a very hated word. So, to sum up this podcast, I miss Android Netrunner. I wish there was more office-based characters, because there's, in all the RPGs I've seen, in all the other games I've seen, only in Android Netrunner were there characters that work in an office that actually did something. Or the tech archetype is never used. I mean, I play a sysop. I love playing a sysop, and everyone hates me for, well, not hates me, but gets annoyed by it. So that just adds some context to my loneliness there. Also, I can't play enough Android Netrunner. I could have just said that, but it would have just ruined everything. And I never knew these things until I get to the end. See you next time. Jacking out.